Hello and welcome back to Chapter 7, lecture number 50. So in the previous lecture, we changed a lot of things in the scene, like improving the grass, adding less nettles and calendine. We added the tall grass and imported an HDRI. So what we're going to do in this lecture is adding atmosphere. And we're going to improve the grass and terrain a little bit. So small improvements, but all of these improvements together makes add more quality in the scene. So left click on the terrain because I like to start with that one. Go to object data and start with the grass small. Then you go to weight paint, and I want to fill this area a bit more with the grass. So let's highlight it. We want to have this area, and now we know that this area needs more density. So let's make the radius a bit bigger, and we just paint it over. And that should add a nice amount of quality. And I also want to, let's go to object data, mud disp. I want to add more strength to this area. So we will have more sort of heaps. And same for this, because I think it needs some extra. Just perfect. All right, so two very important changes, and we're going to select this tree, and I like to move this a little bit more to the background, and that will have effect on the shadowing on the front, because that was looking very poor. There's a lot of shadows, and especially in the foreground you want to have as much detail as you can. Alright, so the next thing is very important as well. Go to the atmosphere and go to add, mesh, and cylinder. And now we have to find it. It's right there. Go to the edit mode, turn off proportional editing and scale it more. And go to wireframe and putting it right there. Make it a bit smaller. So here is the camera, and I want to just have the foreground not filled with mist. So go to the material set. First go to the object properties, and you change this display as from texture to wire. So if you go now to solid, it will be transparent. We want to scale this as Z and move this upwards a bit like this. Okay, maybe a bit more. And we need to apply material, go for new, go to object, and we want to have volume scatter. Change volume to volume and disable the surface. Yeah, and a density of 0.002 and an anisotropy of 0.9. Alright, then you go to the light pad in the render properties, light pad, and you increase volume from 0 to 4. If you don't do this, your fog will look very low quality, and we don't want that. So some very important changes. Another change is I want to take a close look at the building's weight layer, because right now we don't have it. So when you go to weight paint, it's just blue, but we have a mesh that is be able to add displacement. So the fastest way of doing this, go to object mode, is shift left click on one of the rooms what have the right settings, Control L, and you click on modifiers. So it's loading, and if we left click on the oh wow, it's using a display of 4 and a render of 2. So just wipe that. Very important. It's 5. It can be 4 and 0, just to speed up the viewport. And same for that one, 4 and 0. Alright, so focus on this building. I want to go to weight paint and lower the radius a lot and start painting right there. Alright, and we should do this on each angle or each edge from the tower. Maybe a little bit curvy. Alright. So this is a sort of my latest technique that I start using in my environments. Because my computer is more powerful and I switch from 2K to 4K renders, I started to frustrate me about the flat edges of buildings. And this way, it allows to add more detail on the corners. So in combination with some texture maps like leaking and dirt effects, it looks just beautiful. Alright, so we now need to go to object mode and go to the modify tab and start with a standard value of 3. Enable the displacement. Will look ugly, I will mention. I will warn you, not mention. You go to UV map, will look better. And now we go back to the displacement and change this to 0.03. And that will merge this a bit better. So if you have a value of 4, what will be the actually, it will look like this. So a nice, let's just see what happens. So we'll quick check on this rune. It's always good to just review it. Alright. Well, that one looks fine to me, 0. Same for this main building. I want to copy the modifiers from the tower. Modifiers. And I want, it has a group. There is no group, but it's applying a group. I thought, what? Undisable. And we're going to add weight paint and just on this area. And there as well. And lower it. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. Maybe a bit more. But you do not want to affect this hole, otherwise it looks ugly. Good, 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 good. Object. And now, when we increase the viewport details and enabling the displacement, I enable the subdivision and change the patches to UV map. Otherwise, it looks very small. And we continue with more samples. That one looks good. So in the end, you use 4 viewport samples, so more quality. So you can do this with every object you want to change. So I start with these, so just lower the, just disable the viewport. Will be a little bit distracting otherwise. And just a quick check. So we move this tree more to the background. We made changes on the terrain. And we added displacement on the tower and a fog object. So I think it's time for a new render. So I hit F12, and when the render is done, we will do a quick review. Alright, thanks for watching and see you in the next lecture. Alright, so we have a render output, and I really like where we're going. I moved the tree a little bit more to the background, and now we can see more sunlight casting on the grass. I think I moved a bit even more because there's too much shadow still, but you can see what kind of improvement you have when the grass is highlighted. So what else to do? I want to let some ivy grow on the towers, on this one, on the broken walls, and the main towers, the cylindrical towers. And I want to add sort of ornamental part on these small roofs, and there needs to be a reed on this border of the terrain. So a little bit more on the front and there. I want to add some leaves on the water and on the ground of the bottom of the lake. So still a lot of things to do. What are we getting there? look what we've created. A beautiful scene, right? So see you in the next lecture, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.